Have you ever laid in bed at 2 a.m., replaying a conversation from 3 years ago, wondering if what you said came out wrong? Or spent 45 minutes staring at a text message, rewriting it over and over, just to say, sounds good? Yeah, me too. Welcome to the Overthinking Club. Membership is free, but the cost? Your peace of mind. Today we're going to talk about why your brain does this to you, why overthinking isn't actually helping you the way you think it is, and most importantly, how to finally break the cycle. So stick with me, because by the end of this, you're going to see your own mind in a completely different way. Part 1. What is overthinking really? Let's start with what overthinking actually is, because most people misunderstand it. Overthinking is not the same as deep thinking. Deep thinking is productive. It solves problems. It creates things. Overthinking is when your brain gets stuck in a loop, spinning the same thoughts around and around without ever reaching a conclusion or taking action. It's mental motion without movement. There are two main flavors of overthinking. The first is rumination. That's when you obsess over the past, dissecting what happened, what you should have said, what you could have done differently. The second is worry. That's when you obsess over the future. Every possible worst-case scenario, every what if, every catastrophe that hasn't happened and probably never will. Both of them feel productive. That's the trap. Your brain convinces you that if you just think about it a little more, you'll find the answer. You'll feel certain. You'll feel safe. But you never do, because certainty isn't something you find by thinking harder. And safety isn't something your anxious mind can manufacture on its own. Part 2. Why your brain overthinks. Here's something important to understand. Your brain isn't broken. Overthinking isn't a flaw. It's actually a feature, just one that's misfiring. Think about our ancestors thousands of years ago. The ones who survived weren't the ones who were carefree and spontaneous. They were the ones who anticipated danger. The ones who thought, last time I walked near that bush, something jumped out at me. Maybe I shouldn't do that again. Caution kept people alive. Your brain inherited that same survival wiring. It's constantly scanning for threats, trying to predict what could go wrong, trying to prepare you for danger. The problem is that your brain can't always tell the difference between a real threat, like a predator in the wild, and a perceived threat, like your boss asking to speak with you after a meeting. To your nervous system, they feel the same. The heart rate spikes, the mind races, the body prepares for danger that isn't actually there. And here's what makes it worse. The modern world is overwhelming. We have more choices, more information, more noise than any generation in human history. Every decision feels high stakes. Every mistake feels public. Social media has convinced us that everyone else has it figured out, which makes our own uncertainty feel even more unbearable. So we think and think and think, trying to think our way to certainty in a world that doesn't offer it. Part 3. The hidden cost of overthinking. Let's talk about what overthinking is actually doing to you, because most people don't realize the full damage. First, it steals your time. Hours, days, weeks of your life, consumed by thoughts that go nowhere. Think about how much time you've spent replaying arguments, rehearsing conversations that never happened, or worrying about outcomes you couldn't control. That time is gone. You don't get it back. Second, it destroys your confidence. Every time you second-guess yourself, you send yourself a message. I don't trust my own judgment. Do that enough times and you start to believe it. Overthinking doesn't protect you from making bad decisions. It actually makes your decision-making worse because it paralyzes you. Third, it wears out your body. Chronic overthinking keeps your nervous system in a low-grade state of stress. That means elevated cortisol, disrupted sleep, tension in your body, and a weakened immune system. Your thoughts have a direct physical impact on your health. Overthinking is not just a mental problem, it's a whole body problem. And fourth, maybe most painfully, it keeps you out of your own life. When you're stuck in your head, you're not present. You're not enjoying the moment in front of you. You're living in the past or the future while real life, your actual life, passes by unnoticed. Part 4. How to actually stop overthinking. All right, Now let's get into the part you came here for. I want to be straight with you. There's no magic switch. You can't just stop overthinking by deciding to. But there are strategies that genuinely work if you practice them consistently. And the key word is practice. The first step sounds simple, but it's powerful. When you catch yourself spiraling, say it out loud or in your head, "I'm overthinking right now." That's it. Just naming it creates a moment of distance between you and the thought. You go from being inside the spiral to observing it. Psychologists call this cognitive diffusion, separating yourself from your thoughts so they don't automatically control your behavior. You are not your thoughts. Your thoughts are just noise passing through. Naming them helps you remember that. This one sounds strange, but research backs it up. Instead of trying to suppress anxious thoughts, which almost never works and usually makes things worse, you schedule them. Pick a 15-minute window each day, say 5 p.m. That's your official worry time. When an anxious thought comes up during the day, you don't engage with it. You tell yourself, "I'll think about that at 5. And then you actually do. You sit down, you give the thought your full attention, you write it out if needed, and then when the window closes, you move on. What this does is it stops overthinking from bleeding into every hour of your day. It puts it in a box. And over time, many people find that by the time 5 p.m. rolls around, the thoughts don't feel nearly as urgent as they did in the moment. Not all thinking is equal. Here's a question that cuts through the noise fast. Is this thought useful right now? Is it helping you solve a problem? Is it leading to action you can actually take? Or is it just spinning, generating fear and anxiety without producing anything of value? If the thought is useful, engage with it. If it's not, if it's just a what-if nightmare or a replay of something you can't change, you have permission to let it go. You don't have to figure out every possible worst case. You don't owe your anxious mind that energy. This one is non-negotiable. When you're deep in an overthinking spiral, your body is flooded with stress hormones. And the fastest way to metabolize those hormones, to literally clear them out of your system, is physical movement. A walk, a run, even 5 minutes of jumping jacks. It sounds too simple to work, but movement directly interrupts the stress response in your nervous system. It shifts your brain out of default mode, which is where overthinking lives, and forces it into the present moment. You cannot think your way out of overthinking, but you can move your way out of it. The only real solution is to practice tolerating uncertainty, to make a decision with the information you have and accept that you can't know how it'll turn out, to say something and accept that you can't control how it's received, to try something new and accept that it might not work. The more you practice sitting with uncertainty, even small amounts of it, the less power it has over you. Start small. Order something different at a restaurant without reading every review first. Send the message without reading it 10 times. Make the call without rehearsing it for an hour. Every time you act in the presence of uncertainty, you prove to your nervous system that uncertainty is survivable. Because it is. It always has been. Here's what I want you to take away from this. Overthinking isn't a character flaw. It's not proof that you're weak or broken or damaged. It's just a habit, a pattern your brain learned, probably a long time ago because it was trying to keep you safe. But you don't need it anymore the way you once did. And now you have the tools to start changing it. You don't need certainty to move forward. You don't need to figure it all out before you begin. You just need to take the next small step and trust that your mind, at its best, is capable of handling whatever comes next. Start there. That's enough.